Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace be unto you and peace from YAHUAH the Father and Yahushua the Messiah, his Son. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you the Sabbath and the feast days. They are wrong. This is part 4. This episode is about the Israelites. When you first come to this knowledge, maybe you were in the church or in the streets, and you come to this knowledge of the truth. You find out that you were brought here in ships, and the prophecy in Deuteronomy 28:68 speaks of you, and that you're one of the children of Israel. What is the first thing that you try to do? You try to learn as much as you can. Who do you go to? You know that you cannot go to the white man because he's a deceiver. You can't go to the Jews. They're cuckoo birds. They've replaced us. So who do you turn to? You turn to your own brothers. It seems that they have the knowledge of the truth. If you don't do your own investigation, you will never know. You cannot just mind-numbingly listen and follow. You have to investigate everyone. How do you know they're not deceived? How do you know I'm not deceived? The only way that you can come to that conclusion is if you check everything I say and make sure it's right. That's too much work though, right? Did you know that all of the deception that came to our forefathers in ancient Israel, do you think it came from the outside? It always came from the inside. Your enemy will be a part of your own camp. Let me just show you something, just so that you can see how easily deceived our people are. Do you see that star, the star of Moloch and Shion that we went through in the last episode? They're wearing it on their chests, and they have it blazing on this chart. That's deception. The commandments clearly tell you not to make any image, graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above or earth beneath or the waters under the earth. No representation of these things should be made, nor should you be wearing it on your chest. Look at that 12-tribe chart. This chart takes away any legitimacy that we have because it's so stupid that when people look at that, they say that these people are ignorant. And they're right. If you're following this 12-tribe chart, you have not checked. You just mind-numbingly followed. Look, they have a donation bucket there. They have lowered us to beggars. When the people see the children of Israel, the most powerful people on the planet, begging for donations, that lowers your status. The Father's going to give us the earth, and if you work for him, he's going to give you everything you need in order to preach his word. You don't need to beg. IUIC, one of the biggest organizations out there today. Isn't this graphic absolutely beautiful? What is the brother doing here? He's blowing up the trumpet at the full moon. Is there anything wrong with that? No, it isn't. The Bible tells you to do that. Blow up the trumpet at the new moon and the full moon on our solemn feast days. I probably didn't say that right, but we'll get into the scripture later. So is there any error in this? No. The only error that comes from this is if the leadership, the one or the ones who are assigned to teach the people, teach you that the new moon is the full moon. That's dangerous. You have to remember that the Sabbath and the feast days, they are all connected to the lunations of this body that you see here, this moon. Now, if you haven't studied how the moon and the earth and the sun interacts together, if you haven't been out there to bring in this new moon every month, if you haven't been out there every day just to see the different portals and how the moon works, you are not qualified to teach on this topic. The only thing that you're going to do is to shoot from the hip. I realized that when I started my investigation. This is connected to an observance, not just what people say. And if they went out to observe, they would have found out that the full moon is impossible to be the new moon, because there's 3 full moons. You can't tell which one it is. Now, if you're following any of these camps, mind-numbingly believing that the leadership knows what they're talking about, I'm here to tell you today, they don't. And we're talking about one subject or a few subjects I'll get on about this, but they don't know anything about this. They're not qualified to even teach it. A brother came to me the other day and he said, I go to IUIC. He was very proud of it. And IUIC stands for Israel United in Christ. And he says they have chapters all over the country and all over the world. I told the brother, you're not to follow any camp or any of these people. Your job is to teach your family yourself. You're not supposed to let another man come in and teach your family when it's your job to teach your wife and your children. If you're not doing that, men, you are dropping the ball. They have so many doctrines that they have created. And because you don't investigate, you're going to lead your family to the lake of fire. Let me just speak about some of it. Esau is the white man. No, he's not. The Bible tells you exactly who Esau is. He is Jacob's brother. He comes from the loins of Isaac and the womb of Rebekah. He is not the white man. The white man is not our brother. Even though Esau's seed is spoiled, and he is still not the white man. The white man is someone totally different. The Bible tells you who he is. He is the seed of the fallen ones. He is Gog and Magog. His time will come in the end. But because the brothers have not researched, because they're shooting from the hip, from the imaginations of their own mind, they're going to lead you into deception and have you thinking that Esau is the white man, and he is not. What about that 12-tribe chart? How can any intelligent organization promote that? How is it possible? It's only possible if the people are in a strong delusion believing a lie. I came out of the church and came into the Israelite culture and found out that they are just as deceived as the pastors and the bishops and the teachers in the church. It is no difference. When you promote that 12-tribe chart, you're promoting foolishness. It comes from the imagination of somebody's mind. It's not in the Bible. They made it up. Here's the most dangerous one. The full moon is the new moon. When you're looking for your feast, you're going to start your feast in the middle of the month, not from the first day of the month, not from the new moon. Why is it that the brothers don't know this? It's in the Bible. It's definitive. It's clear as this graphic here. Why do they not know this? Because of their leadership. The leadership is shooting from the imaginations of their own mind. First, they started saying that the dark moon was the new moon. Deceived again. Then you would think they would come out of that deception and go right, but no, they go to the new moon is the full moon. From one deception to the next. I tell you the truth. These people are here to put a stumbling block in the awakening of the children of Israel. I spent a lot of time investigating. I'm not shooting or saying something just because I have a hatred or something for these brothers. No, I'm just telling you what I've observed and read in the scripture. Remember something. The people that you have to look at and be careful of are the ones who are in your own camp. All of the deceptions came through Israel. How did the people start worshiping Moloch, Cheon, and Baal? Because the leadership led them down that path. It's time for us to wake up and seek YAHUAH. Not seek these organizations or try to be a part of these cultures. Seek YAHUAH with all of your heart, your mind, and your soul. This is the end. If you don't do that, you'll find yourself in the lake of fire. You cannot give YAHUAH whatever you want to give him. You have to give him exactly what he tells you to give him. Anything else will not be accepted. Being halfway there is not going to make it. You cannot be lukewarm. He will spew you out, spit you out. He said it's better for you to be hot or cold. I want to be hot. Forget being cold or lukewarm. Let me be hot. I want to make it into the kingdom. I hope you do also. Let's begin. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 10 to 12. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Don't let this be you. Verse 11. And for this cause the mighty one shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. If you're in these camps and you've believed any of these things, you're believing lies. It is not the truth. Verse 12, that they might all be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Do you know the Israelites thought that they were following Torah? They believed that they were following the ways of YAHUAH. They believed that they were keeping the Sabbaths and the feast days correctly. How were they deceived? The leadership. Those who led them astray. What happened? How could that happen? They did not check on them. They did not go to Torah to see if it were so. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 to 5. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. You shall perish if you don't pay attention to this, because these are the perilous times. These are the last days. Verse 2, for men shall be lovers of them own selves. They don't care nothing about you. It's about their fame, their fortune. They're trying to build their own kingdom here. They are covetous. They're boasters. They are proud. They are blasphemers. All you have to do is just pay attention and you will see it. Disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. Verse 3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers. I've watched them point fingers for years. Incontinent, they have no self-control. Fierce, they're angry. Despisers of those that are good. Everyone who wants to keep the commandments and do it the way that YAHUAH says it should be, they will point the finger at you and call you a fool. Verse 4, they are traitors. They are letting these white women come into the congregation and they are marrying them. Remember what was in Ezra? We went through it before when we were checking out who we were supposed to marry, and the brothers found themselves to be traitors against our own women. Heady, high-minded. They think they have all of the knowledge of the truth. Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the mighty one. Verse 5, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such, turn away. Having a form of godliness. Just because you have nice robes on, just because you can speak some Torah, and just because you gotten a little bit of Hebrew under your belt and you think that you're fluent in the language, that has nothing to do with godliness. The power thereof is his commandments. If someone is telling you that the full moon is the new moon, they are basically trying to wipe you out of salvation, because that's against YAHUAH. You have to choose a side. Is it the side of these brothers or is it the side of the master? We're going to get into all of this stuff. I'm going to prove to you, brothers and sisters, that these people do not work for our master. Who are they working for then? There's only two gods. There's the God of this earth and the mighty one that is in the heavens. He said, from people like that, turn away. Verse 6, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. Ladies, watch out. These guys are there to deceive you. They're going to say exactly what you want to hear and you will fall for it. Verse 7, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. They have Bible studies on a constant basis. They teach online. They're reading Torah. They say you have to study line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. They're always learning, but they're never going to come to the knowledge of the truth. Why? Because they're deceived and they're going about deceiving others. Verse 8, now as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith. Jannes and Jambres. I tried to look for them in the Old Testament. I could not find it. I wonder, where did Timothy get it from? Where did Paul get it from? They both spoke of Jannes and Jambres. It must be something deleted from the scriptures, because I cannot find these guys. But Jannes and Jambres, what they did was that they resisted the truth. What was the truth? The laws, the statutes, and commandments. These men were corrupt, reprobate concerning the truth. They were doomed to destruction. They had no knowledge of what it was supposed to be. They started to create things out of their own imagination. Look at verse 9. But they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifest unto all men, as theirs was also. Whose was also Jannes and Jambres. This is why I'm exposing them now. The folly. They have been destroying the children of Israel. They have some of the largest congregations, and they have chapters all over the country, and now they're reaching out around the world. Who are they destroying? The children of Israel. How are they doing that, Brother David? If you're telling people that the full moon is the new moon, you've taken them out away from the Father's days, and you have them worshiping on an abominable day. Do they care about that? No. They first said that the dark moon was the new moon. Now they're saying the full moon was the new moon. They've missed the point. They're just dealing with the imagination of their own minds, never going to the scriptures to see whether it's so, not spending the time to learn how the Father's creation works. Lamentations, chapter 2, verse 5 to 6. I want you to pay very close attention. This is why I'm making these videos. This is not something new. There's nothing new under the sun. The same way as it was in old times is the same way it is now. We have people who are put in place to deceive us. YAHUAH was an enemy. He have swallowed up Israel. He have swallowed up all her palaces. He hath destroyed his strongholds, and hath increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. It's obvious they weren't doing something right, correct? Did he spare them when they went into error or apostasy? No, he did not. He swallowed up the palaces. He destroyed her strongholds. And there was great mourning in Judah. Verse 6. And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle as if it were a garden. He hath destroyed his places of the assembly. YAHUAH have caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and have despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. Look, the mighty one is angry. He has taken away his feast days. He has taken away his Sabbaths. He has caused them to be forgotten because the people who were leading us astray. They had us worshiping on another day. Who did it, Brother David? The king and the priest. Those who were leading them. Did they check on them? No, they did not. They followed blindly. Hosea chapter 2, verse 10 to 11. And now will I discover her lewdness, her nakedness, in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of mine hand. Verse 11. I will also cause her mirth to cease, her celebrations, her gaiety, her laughter, her feast days, her new moons, and her Sabbath days, and all her solemn feasts. Who's saying this? YAHUAH. Why? Because he says we were doing our feasts. You see, her new moons, her Sabbaths, her feast days, her solemn feasts. Her is a pronoun. It describes a person, place, or thing. When you read the whole Hosea chapter 2, you will find out he's talking about the children of Israel. This was not YAHUAH's feast. This was not YAHUAH's new moons. They were not YAHUAH's Sabbaths. They were somebody else's. The children of Israel were worshiping and serving on an abominable day. We need to get this right. The end is right around the corner. This is why the Father has sent me to speak out against this. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 15 to 16. Listen. It's all in Scripture, brothers and sisters. He told you that these things were going to happen, but because of our lack of knowledge, we'll perish. Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? What abomination is that? Doing it on the wrong day, on an abominable day. Nay, that means no. They were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore they shall fall among them that fall. If you're down with them, you're going to go down with them. At the time that I visit them, they shall be cast down, saith YAHUAH. They're teaching these lies and they're holding to them. Remember, he says that they're going to be exposed. Esau is the white man. The full moon is the new moon. The 12 tribe chart. And there's many other things. They denied that the Sabbath is through the new moon. They say that you can only find the Sabbath through the Gregorian calendar. Every Saturday is your Sabbath. That's who we've been following, right? Verse 16, thus saith YAHUAH, listen, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. That's what they're saying. If you're down with them and you're holding to their doctrines, that's what you're saying. You'll follow these men, but you won't follow YAHUAH. He told you to ask for the old paths. Who are you supposed to ask? Him, not men. Him, and he will reveal it to you. I asked. This is how I know now. I asked him to reveal to me his ways. If you do the same, he will do it also for you. He will not withhold no good thing from you. The old paths, brothers and sisters. Where is the good way? And walk therein. Then you'll find rest for your souls. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1 to 3. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither YAHUAH thy mighty one have driven thee. Aren't we calling them to mind now? Verse 2. And shalt return unto YAHUAH the mighty one, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Listen, return to YAHUAH and obey his voice, not the voice of these men, the voice of YAHUAH. These men are going to have you starting your month at the full moon. You'll find your feast days 15 days off from where it's supposed to be. That's not according to his voice. These men will have you having your weekly Sabbath from month to month, week to week, year to year, without fail, according to the Gregorian calendar. That is not obeying his voice according to all that he commanded you this day. These men will have you thinking that Esau is the white man and the 12 tribe chart is legitimate. They are promoting it. So therefore, to them, it is legitimate. You will not be following the Father's voice according to all that he commands you. You will be dealing with people who are in a strong delusion. When I left the church, I knew that they were in a strong delusion, believing a lie. I came to this Israelite culture. I thought the brothers understood and knew the truth. I am the newest one on the block here. I'm just getting started. They've been down for many, many years. And to see what they're doing, it just hurts my heart. Because I find that that delusion that I found in the church is multiplied amongst the brothers today. Verse 3. That then YAHUAH thy mighty one will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whither YAHUAH the mighty one hath scattered thee. Listen, the Father is holding back his wrath so that he can seal in the foreheads all of those, that remnant of us that will turn to him and to righteousness. I want you to understand something, brothers and sisters. He wants you with all thine heart and with all your soul. You cannot play with this thing. There's only one way the Father has created for us to count time, and that is through the lunations of the moon, which reflects the light from the sun. It is a timepiece. It is a clock in the sky. The brothers will tell you that, yes, to find our feast days, we have to go to the way that the Father said to count the days. So therefore, we look for the new moon. They've distorted that and made the new moon the full moon. First they had the black moon, then they had the full moon. If they were inspired by YAHUAH, they would have it right, but they do not have his spirit. I'm telling you the truth. The Father will not lead you into these lies. These are men following the imaginations of their own minds. You have to remember there's stumbling blocks that are put in your way. You have to find the path. But guess what the Israelites are saying? We will not walk therein. Here's the calendar. The brothers are saying that the full moon comes out on the first day of the month. Day number 1 is your new moon's day. That's what they said. History has taught us it's not. It's always in the middle of the month. Science has taught us it's not. It's always in the middle of a month. Astronomy has taught us it's not. It's always in the middle of a month. The Catholics could not have their Easter until after the first full Paschal moon. They waited for that, then they made their Easter. You cannot find it in the sky the way that the brothers are telling you that it is. The new moon is the full moon, so is it in 2 places? Is it at the beginning of the month and the middle of the month? If you study lunations, you will find out there is no such thing. Then they deny the Father's Sabbath days. They hold to him when it comes to the feast. But when it comes to the Sabbath days, they turn away from YAHUAH's way of counting the days. And they go back to the Gregorian calendar. The same person that they call Esau, the white man, they follow Esau. I'm just using their terminology because Esau is not the white man, but they will follow this person that they have named Esau. And then they'll come back to YAHUAH's way of counting the days to find the feasts. But even that they are distorting because the new moon is the crescent moon. Has nothing to do with the dark moon nor the full moon. And the scriptures confirm that. It's obvious they were not looking for the old path. They were not looking for the good way. They're not looking to find rest for your souls. These are evil men. They will wax worse and worse. Am I talking about the congregation? I'm talking about the leadership. The Father's anger is against the leadership, their bishops, their elders, all of those who are pandering to this lie. So can you follow this calendar? This is why I say get rid of the calendars, because they can deceive you. You will see this calendar, you'll look up at the new moon day and you'll say, oh, it's the full moon, because you won't do any investigation. You'll just follow. I'm trying to teach you to stop this behavior. It's destructive. It's like committing suicide. You're taking pills, trying to poison yourself. Come to YAHUAH. Check his word. Stop following these men. The Israelites on the new moon. Now, I got this from their website, YAHUAH. You see, they have all the evidence online. The new moon is the full moon. They're telling you what it is. And because you follow YAHUAH, Israel United in Christ, in Krishna, you're going to go wrong. Because Christ means Krishna, brothers and sisters. They try to say that Christ means the anointed one. Krishna is Christ. You do not apply that to him. The moon was made on the 4th day of creation. Lie number 2. The moon was not made on the 4th day of creation. Who are these people? The moon rules the night and is for signs and seasons. Stop. They've deleted something. Something that they don't want you to know. This is a willful deception. The days and the years are missing from this passage. Let me show you. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 19. And the mighty one said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, 1, and for seasons, 2, and for days, 3, and for years. Why did they delete days and years? Why did they only leave signs and seasons? Because they know that the feast days are in the seasons. They know the Sabbath days is dealing with days, you know, the lunations of the moon, the 29-day period, the 30-day period, all are according to the way the moon moves around the earth. And it also causes the years. It's telling you here that the timepiece that's in the sky is how you find your Sabbaths and your feast days. I'm going to get into this deeper later in another episode, and I'm going to show you the error of this whole world, how all of the people have been lying to you. Maybe it's because they don't have reading comprehension. Is it because they're in a strong delusion that they are believing lies? Or are these people just sent here to put a stumbling block in your way? I say all three. Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 43, 6-8. He made the moon also to serve in her season, for a declaration of times. Look, brothers and sisters, look what he's saying to you. You cannot find anything to do with time. You cannot find your days. You cannot find your months. You cannot find your seasons. You cannot find your years without this heavenly body that he created in the sky so that you can see that timepiece that points you towards your weeks and a sign of the world. Verse 7. For the moon is the sign of feasts. What feasts? Well, you have the new moon. It's a feast day. You have Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Feast of Weeks. The moon is a sign of the feast. What is it telling you? The only way that you're going to be able to find these feast days is to go by the lunations of the moon. A light that decreaseth in her perfection. What feast is that talking about? That comes in the middle of the month when it is full. Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Also, Feast of Tabernacles. Verse 8. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. Stop for a moment. Because the brothers don't understand how the moon works, once the moon has become full, can it increase? Listen to me. Once the moon has become full, can it increase? The answer to that is no. When you study how the moon works, you find out once it becomes full, the only thing it can do is decrease. So let's read verse 8 again. The month is called after her name, the moon, increasing wonderfully in her changing. Therefore, she starts as a crescent moon and begins to increase. That is the beginning of your month. Didn't I tell you that they have no reading comprehension? Or are they just trying to deceive you? Because they know that maybe you don't have any reading comprehension. Before you read your word, you pray. Ask the Father to reveal to you the truth. He will gladly give you his spirit so that you can find a path back to him. Gladly. Ask yourself, have you ever done that? Because if you're not understanding what you're reading, it's because you're not asking. You receive not because you ask not. And then when you ask for foolish things, money and things of this world. Ask for knowledge. Being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. What? You mean to tell me all of those who came before these calendars were created by the Europeans, they looked up in the sky. That's how they counted the days. That's how they counted the months. That's how they counted the years. There was no such thing as a calendar before. Europeans brought this in. Or what do they call them? Esau? That's what they called them. They hate Esau. Esau is the white man, but they're following the white man here. They're following his doctrines because they go to the new moon way of counting the days to find their feasts, and then they dismiss it totally and go back to the Gregorian calendar that was created by those same Europeans who have circumvented the way that YAHUAH's creation works, and they follow them. Isn't that a mess? They're protecting the Europeans' calendar. Look at Wikipedia, what they're going to tell you. Therefore, in the lunisolar calendars, in which each month begins on the day of the new moon, the full moon falls on either the 14th or the 15th day of the lunar month, because a calendar month consists of a whole number of days. A lunar month may be either 29 or 30 days long. You can go to Wikipedia and find this. This is supposed to be common knowledge. But the people who are leading you, if you're down with that organization, they're leading you astray. They're making a fool out of you because you won't study. George Bush said, you fooled me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They're consistently fooling you if you're in these IUIC places. This is called the herd mentality. You know how it is. We like to follow people, follow the herd, follow the crowds, you know. Black Friday, Christmas, Easter, all of that stuff, just follow. You cannot do that anymore. You have to check on everyone. Your salvation is at stake. If you're listening to this video and it's bothering you because I'm speaking against your bishops and your elders and the ones who are teaching you, This should not cause you to be upset. It should cause you to go to the book and check it out to see whether they're telling you the truth. Because it's obvious that you did not do that. You didn't check on them, or else you would not be there. Here's a calendar. It's showing you two different ways of counting the days. You have the luni-solar calendar on top of a Gregorian calendar. That's the way that we do it to find our feast days. But the brothers say that we go to this to find the feast days. But when it comes to the weekly Sabbath, we go back to the Gregorian calendar to follow their weekly Sabbath. Now look at the 25th. The 25th is when the brothers say that that is your new moon's day. That's the first day of the month. Now come back to the 10th. Let me show you how YAHUAH does things. It just came out of the conjunction, and in the evening of the 10th, when the sun begins to go down, you will see the slither moon, because it's going to travel with the sun. It's going to go down in the northwest, and you'll see that sliver of light, and that begins your month. And then 11 is your new moon's day. That's day 1. If you count from 11 to 25, you're going to have exactly 15 days, just like the Bible says, and the moon will become full. Do you see that? Now, if you were to look up in the sky, and first the moon is dark, you see nothing, then all of a sudden this slither of light comes out, you know that that is the beginning of your month. But come down to 25, which the brothers say is the beginning of their months. Remember, they're an agrarian society. They didn't have computers. They couldn't do this online. They had to actually go out and look up in the sky. Look at 24, 25, 26. Which one of these would you say is the full moon? And we're looking at them very close. Just think if it's in the sky. You would not be able to tell the difference. Therefore, the full moon cannot be the thing that you're looking for. The Father's not going to do that. He's perfect in everything he does. The only persons who make this error are men, especially those who are in a strong delusion. So if you go back to 11 and you count to 25, you'll find it is exactly 15 days. That's how it works. Any other way is a lie. Now, the brothers state that you're going to find your feast day on the 25th, which is the 15th day. The 15th day of the month, according to the way YAHUAH counts time, is always a Sabbath day. Always. So you have your 15th day here, which is really 25. That is a Sabbath day. The 18th, that is a Sabbath day. The 11th is New Moon's Day. What do you do on New Moon's Day, Brother David? Did you know that New Moon's Day is a day of worship? It's a day of sacrifice. It's a day of feasting. It is in your Bible. Nobody is telling you that, right? It stands alone. And after New Moon's Day, then you begin your count towards your Sabbath. The 6 working days, it's called. You count your 6 working days, and it's always going to be on the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. And that's a fact. It's not a lie. It's not from my own imagination. I'm going to prove all of this to you without a doubt later. Just stick with me, brothers, and you're going to see something spectacular. The Father is awakening his people in these last days. We are turning away from the Europeans and all of the deceptions that they have. The brothers who wants to hold on to these lies, let them stay there. Only thing we can try to do is to wake up their congregations. Hopefully their congregations will see these things and run. get away from all of these lies and deceptions. Now, the brother's saying that if they have their full moon, which is on the 25th, right? That's the first day of the month. Then you're going to go to 26, 27, 28, and the 29th is your Sabbath day. You had 3 days in between the new moon's day. You didn't get your 6-day count. How does that work? How do you go from the way YAHUAH counts the days so that you can find your new moons, your Sabbaths, and your feast days? But you go back to the Gregorian calendar to find the Sabbath day. Let me just use the words that they use. They love Esau. Continue to part 5, and I'm going to show you the proof. Shalom.